A boy named Haruto is on a bus when he recalls a childhood memory in which he promises a girl he will return and marry her. Haruto kept his promise and visited the girl, but he left when he saw her with another boy. On the bus ride home, he's reminiscing. A girl on the bus is always watching him. When Haruto looks back, the bus wobbles. A bus and a train collide, killing all occupants. From this present crash, we jump to 991 when Haruto wakes up as an orphan in Kingdom Beltram's slums. His past life memories disturb his new life. Haruto's birth name is Ryo in this era. Some men enter his house and mock him for waking up from a deadly fever. After taking a bath, he eats a bushberry and thinks about Haruto. Instead, he returns to the present. Ryo decides to avenge his mother's murderer. He's remembering his mother's last memory of her killer. 4 white-gowned girls ask Ryo about a missing girl. Ryo said he didn't know anything about it until CELIA Claire started using magical powers to detect magic in the community. Ryo's body also glowed with blue light, which means he has magical powers he didn't know about. CELIA only saw their magic. She offers Ryo a bag of money in exchange for interrogating him and changes their clothes per Ryo's instructions. Christina Beltram slaps Ryo after misinterpreting him. Christina thought he had taken her sister. She interrogated him at the palace. Commander-in-Chief Charles ARBOR tortured Ryo without being told to. FLORA tells CELIA and her bodyguard that Ryo saved her life when she regains consciousness. They were shocked to see Ryo's injuries in the interrogation room. CELIA heals Ryo's wounds after proving his innocence. CELIA assures Ryo that the Beltram king will be grateful. Ryo asked CELIA to learn king meaning etiquette, and she agrees. The king offered Ryo a full scholarship to Beltram Kingdom Royal Institute for saving the princess's life. Ryo was surprised that 12-year-old CELIA is a Royal Institute teacher. Ryo's classmates look down on him because he's an orphan on his first day at the Royal Institute. Ryo can't read or write, so he asks CELIA to tutor him after school. After school, CELIA teaches Ryo. Haruto's memories accelerated his learning. Ryo learns swordsmanship from Haruto's karate art. Ryo's instructor praises his swordsmanship despite his unorthodox fighting style and assures him he will become an excellent knight. He studies with CELIA. 2 classmates suspect Ryo cheating because he and Christina have the highest test scores, but CELIA defends him. CELIA feared Ryo's success would make his classmates hate him more. Ryo's classmates disapprove of him being in the knight tournament because he's an orphan. The teacher agrees. In the first round, Ryo faces Charles, takes his sword, and wins. The children then practice in the forest using a map. They defeat a magic-created apparition along the way. The map wasn't accurate. They found a ditch. More monsters attacked. FLORA fell off the cliff after colliding with an injured boy. Ryo saves her with magic, but no one notices. Ryo's classmates accuse him of hitting FLORA after he fell. Ryo, who escaped, flees after hearing his classmates' accusations. They fought beasts together, but a giant one appeared that they couldn't defeat. Ryo feared using his magic because he wanted to keep it secret. Ryo arrives just in time to help her, and he defeats the monster with 2 blows. Ryo's strength surprises the mysterious man who sent the creature to attack them. Beltram's Royal Institute blames Ryo for Princess Flora's accident. ARBOR confirmed Ryo's escape. Ryo comes to CELIA to say goodbye. She hugs him before he leaves. Ryo tells her he's leaving the kingdom to fulfill his mother's promise. He then leaves, promising CELIA a letter under Haruto's name. Following CELIA's map, he reaches Galark. In Amen, he finds pasta from his past life. At the market, he meets Lyslot, who invented pasta. After buying dry goods, he writes CELIA a letter and leaves for Yagumo. Ryo travels until he meets a fainting girl. She stabbed and poisoned him when he approached. Ryo neutralized the poison. Ryo stopped her. He realizes he's a beastkin in servitude. In reverse, one of Ryo's classmates enslaves the girl and tells her to kill Ryo. Magic freed her. He met Latifa. Ryo tells him to visit animal-like people. Latifa followed Ryo despite his orders. Ryo doesn't trust her, so she requests a slave collar. After Ryo calmed, they continued. After a long journey, Ryo and Latifa camped. Ryo cooks city food. Ryo is surprised when Latifa calls it spaghetti. As he sleeps, he hears Latifa reminiscing about Tokyo, leading him to believe she came from Japan like him. The next day, they enter a forest. While staying in the forest for the night, Ryo is ambushed by the forest's spirit beast kin. When they saw Latifa inside the tent, their anger increased. They assumed that Ryo had kidnapped Latifa, so they attacked him and knocked him unconscious. Then they took him to their villages. Ryo dreams of encountering the spirit of the woman who previously saved and activated his magical abilities. He questions the spirit about it, but she replies that she knows nothing about herself, but everything about Ryo. When he wakes up, he finds himself in a room and handcuffed. After a while, Latifa comes and hugs him. She gets angry seeing Ryo tied up. The girls apologize for falsely accusing Rio. The next day, Ursula takes Rio to meet the local chiefs to formally apologize for their mistake. Rio asks Ursula about a huge tree on the way to the village chief's office. Ursula reveals that the tree is home to Dryas, the tree spirit. This magical tree is only visible to those who have powerful magic within them. When Rio arrived at the village chief's office, the elders apologized to him for the mistake. They thank Ryu for freeing Latifa from the slave spell. Ryu requests that they take care of Latifa as he cannot take her with him. He also begged to stay in the community and study the magic of the Forest of Spirits. After gaining the consent of the village leaders, Rio meets Dryas and is shocked when Dryas tells him when she meets him that he has a spirit sleeping in him. She adds that the spirit in human form is unusual and a spirit with the sixth lost ancient power. Ursula helps Rio and Latifa live with Sarah, Alma, and Afia. The mysterious man who followed Rio brings a monster egg to the Forest of Spirits. He leaves his disciple with the egg and the griffin. Before leaving, he gives his disciple a red magic pill to track him. Rio takes Latifa on a walk through the forest to tell her he'll leave her in the village. So Latifa considers him her brother, so she's angry and flees. The villagers sense a magical power in their forest. A boy in the forest holds a monster egg. The mysterious man went to the cave and magically made all the remaining eggs disappear. The boy ran from Alma and her companions in the forest. Whitcrod arrives to collect egg in flocks. A strange man kills his student, and the boy falls from a griffin with an egg. The boy and egg fell near to Latifa as she wandered alone in the forest. Whitcron attacked Latifa after seeing the baby dead. Alma and Sarah's skills aren't enough, so Rio helps Latifa defeat the beast. The next day, Latifa apologized and let Rio go. Rio says he promised his late mother to return home. Latifa said she was reincarnated from Japan. Rio was given a sword and food when he asked to leave. One of the elders gives him a magical space-time storage facility. Rio Agumo is 2 weeks away. Rory and Seo are in town. Rory says Yuba is his grandmother and the village leader. Rio tells Yuba about his village-dwelling parents, Zen and Ayim. Zen was Yuba's son, so she knows her parents well. He wanted to build a village from his parents' graves. Yuba tells Ryo she's already buried them. She takes him to pray at his parents' graves. Gon, son of a neighboring village chief, damages his carriage so he can stop at Chagumo. Gon and Ryo's cousin Shin fight, and Yuba lets Gon stay. Rio gives girls a red crystal before going to bed so that he can save them in case of an emergency. Gon visits Rory and Seo's room at night. He tries to force himself on Rory. Ryo arrives to save them, and seeing Gon reminds him of his mother's killer, and his anger grows. Before he kills Gon, Yuba and everyone else come and stop him. Gon's face is injured, and Hayat, a government officer, uses the spirit art to heal Gon's face and orders him imprisoned for his crime. The next day, Ryo apologizes to Yuba and the villagers while praising everyone's actions. As instructed by Yuba, he leaves for the city with Shin and Hayat with a stockpile of rice. Yuba writes to Hayat's father, which Hayat gives to his father. After reading the letter, Goki rushes to meet Rio. Goki meets Ryo and gives him more information about his mother and father. According to Goku, Zane used to be his best friend and his mother was a princess. He is very surprised to hear that he is of royal blood. To prevent Ayam from marrying a dangerous prince, the king secretly married Ayam to Zen with his consent and sent her away. Goki invites Rio to meet the king and Queen Karasuki. Ryu tells his mother's parents about his parents that his father died when he was very young. He lived with his mother. His father's friend, Lucius, used to come to help him. One day, his mother left him at home and go to the market. Lucius comes to their house and forcefully poisons Ryu to kill him. Meanwhile, Ayam returns and tries to stop Lucius, but he kills Ayam in front of Rio. He was 5 years old at that time. When he awoke again, he found himself in Beltram's slum. The king and queen are very happy to see Rio. Rio wanted to avenge his mother. That's why the king made him fight with Goki to measure his ability. Goki is the most experienced soldier in this empire, but Rio beat him. Seeing this, the king was satisfied. Rio returns to his village and tells his grandmother that he will be leaving soon because he has to exact his revenge. On his way back from Egumo, he passes through a forest of spirits where he finds his sister Latifa and the rest of his friends. Latifa is overjoyed to see Rio. He meets the village elders and tells them that he wants to build a house so that he can keep it within a time-space. Ursula tells him that he should get the house ready. He should spend time with his sister. When Rio opens his eyes the next morning, he finds a naked girl lying next to him. He thought it was his dream, but it was reality. Meanwhile, Afia, Alma, and others enter the room and are surprised to see the girl. Then they realize that this girl is none other than the sleeping spirit inside Rio, which is to wake up now. Rio names her Ashiet and takes her to meet the elders and Dryas. Dryas examines her and wants to see what kind of spirit she is, but according to Ashia, she has mastery over all the elements. A fight ensues between Ashia and Rio, and eventually the two are very powerful. Dryas stops them. She is surprised because no spirit can master all the elements at once, but Ashia surprised them all by showing mastery over all the elements. Rio is leaving the Forest of Spirits with the intention of meeting CELIA. The Elder this time gives Rio a teleporter to return easily to the Forest of Spirits and a stud that he can wear to change his hair color. He visits CELIA with Ashia at the Beltram Kingdom Royal Institute, but she is not there. He learns that CELIA is preparing for her wedding to Charles Arbor in the kingdom. After losing the battle, Bertram's kingdom has broken. The Arbor family negotiates and saves the kingdom. They wanted Charles and CELIA to marry for political reasons. Rio insists on seeing CELIA and asks Ashia for help. Rio meets CELIA and asks her if she is happy with the marriage. CELIA says she wants to marry Charles and tells Rio not to attend. Rio did not believe CELIA's statements, so he decided to stop the marriage. Shortly before the wedding, Charles introduced CELIA to 6 of his previous wives. Christina comes to meet CELIA. She apologizes because CELIA is marrying Charles to protect the kingdom. CELIA and Charles marched through the streets before the ceremony. The plan to disrupt the wedding is carried out by Rio, and he attacks during the ceremony. Rio runs over the guards and grabs CELIA after knocking Charles down. Rio uses telepathy to talk to CELIA before kidnapping her and convincing her to go with him. Despite the resistance, Charles's guards continue to attack him. Sir Rias, who was watching Rio, attacked him. He is the enigmatic figure who was following Rio. Rio dodged Rias's strike and ran away. Rio goes to a site where he asks Ashia to save CELIA. CELIA hugs Rio when he returns safely. Suddenly, strange pillars of light erupted in the sky. Ashia appears to know something and pleads with Rio to save someone, while CELIA and Rio look perplexed. In a grazing field, goons kidnap 3 small children. Rio attacked the kidnappers with sharp moves and released the children. Upon asking Rio, he discovers that there is someone else besides them, and when he breaks the lock, he finds his childhood love, Mei Chen. With that, this season ends here. All of the rest of the questions will be answered in the next season.